It's your weekend kickoff, because The View is live. Former Fox News anchor Gretchen Carlson is getting right into Hot Topics as our special guest co-host. White House war on the media. How Team Trump is demanding they keep their mouths shut. Do the American people agree? Plus, she went from the most feared apprentice contestant ever to working in President Trump's White House. Omarosa is live on The View. And shh, Jedediah has no idea we're surprising her for her birthday with her biggest celebrity crush, who may be yours too. Let's get this party started with Joy, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Jedediah Bila, and special guest co-host Gretchen Carlson. Now, let's get things started.
It's Friday, yes! Okay. So today, we have a special guest here today. We have, as a co-host, she's going to sit in for the whole show. Yeah. She is a former Fox News anchor, Gretchen Carlson.
Yes.
You know, Gretchen, I have to say that you were a hot topic here when you sued... you sued your boss, Roger Ailes, for sexual harassment. Everybody remember that story? Okay. Now, I know that you can't talk, so maybe, but that doesn't mean we can't. Maybe you could just nod yes or, you know, no, like that.
Okay, I'll give you the sign language form of it.
Yeah. So you're writing a book about it.
Well, so I'm writing a book actually to empower all young women and young girls on this specific issue. Sort of a playbook of sorts, because there hasn't really been anything out there like, what do I do if I'm facing this at work?
Right.
And it's also a book about empowerment in general, for young girls and women to stand up against bullying, against anything in their life where they feel like they're being demoralized.
So what's your top tip?
Well, my top tip is to find out what the laws are in your particular state with regard to gathering of evidence, or just, you know, feeling empowered on the issue, because it varies from state to state.
But I mean, but let's say you're in the workplace.
You would know that.
I was going to say it does. And let me also say, I just think that you are incredibly brave to do what you've been doing.
We're happy for you.
You're incredibly brave. And I know from my experience prosecuting sexual assault cases and working on the front lines of sexual harassment, that it sticks with women. It sticks.
It's demoralizing, and there's a certain amount of shame that comes with it. I just want to say that I have heard from thousands of women across this country, and it affects you in every walk of life. It's not just media. I mean, I'm talking about members of our military, and police officers, and firefighters, and Wall Street bankers, and oil rig operators, and teachers. So this is an issue that remains pervasive in our culture.
What happened to me when I was a teacher?
Oh, it did happen.
Oh, yeah.
Every woman has a story.
That
is how I wake up every morning now, thinking, every woman has a story. And if I can help just one of them, or a dozen of them, feel the confidence to stand up and speak up for themselves.
When I was harassed as a teacher, though, it was way before, you know, Roe v. Wade. It was before everything, you know, that we have now. But, you know, so I would like to know from you ladies, like, if, let's say you're in a beauty parlor, you're a hair person, a stylist, and somebody harasses you, and you don't have the ability to, you're not a lawyer, you're not a media person, you don't, you know, how do you handle it in the moment?
I mean, I would push, I'm a Brooklyn girl, as you know, so I would push back immediately and then go get myself a lawyer and hold them accountable.
What would you say in the pushback? How do you do it?
Well, it depends what they do. I mean, if they say something to me, I would say, you better watch your mouth, or I'm gonna have someone.
What are you gonna do, Jed?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it depends what they do,
what
they
if they were your boss? What if it's your boss?
Too bad. You know, you have to. That's one thing that I have to say about this story. We both worked at Fox News together, and I don't know if people realize how brave it was. The Fox News PR team is pretty intense, and I know that you had to know that going in, that you were going to get pushback. And I saw a lot of women, you know, give you pushback. I saw fans give you pushback. I saw people who wanted to protect that brand give you pushback. And even though I didn't have that experience with Roger, I was out there saying, don't judge somebody, because if this happened to her and she's brave enough to come out and speak, she's going against a whole team of people that are out to protect a brand or protect a person, and you have to empower people. So whether you're an anchor or whether you're a hairdresser or whoever you are, if you're out there and someone is mistreating you, speak up your mind.
I understand what you're saying, but
I don't care if it's your boss.
You're going to lose your job.
You know what? Talk to other women. Stand together.
It's very difficult for women to come forward, which is why I said you were so very brave, because you don't want to lose your job. And so a lot of women are willing, because they're not willing, but they have to sort of play nice.
They do, and also you feel, if you're a type A personality and you're used to achieving, that you can change the situation. So you keep fighting it harder, right? And somebody very well known said that, well, this doesn't happen to strong women. Well, guess what? I'm a strong woman.
Yeah.
And, you know, it happened.
Anita Hill was a very strong woman. Look at the way she handled Clarence Thomas's situation. She was a strong woman and a lawyer.
We should say, though, that Roger Ailes has denied all of these allegations, although your story is
She won the lawsuit.
One question I have, though, for Gretchen, specifically...
Let him deny. She won.
Specifically during these times, I think as a woman, on the heels of everything you went through, when some of those audio tapes came out of President Trump speaking about grabbing women by certain parts, and then you can do that when you're in a position of power, you're a celebrity. How did you react to that, and how did that make you feel? Because I think some women have a hard time setting that aside.
Well, it was so raw for me at the time because I was going through all of this personally as well. And I think for every person out there who has children, this was an opportunity for us to have a great discussion with our kids about how we should act and treat each other in a humane way. I mean, I know I had to have this conversation with my own children, and I hope that every other parent out there did the same thing. You know, listen, we can't treat people with disrespect. And the most important thing for me is raising our kids up in a new generation to respect one another. I often said, I work more for my son than I do for my daughter, because I want him to treat his female colleagues in 10 years when he gets into the workforce in the same way in which he looks and respects his mama.
Yeah, but you know what they say, the fish stinks from the head.
Well, the culture of an organization often comes from the top down, and a big part of sexual harassment,
remark,
is enablers. It's enablers.
That's
and
right.
so, you know, had on that tape, had an enabler said something different, it may have stopped.
And
the system
settled the case, right, with you. There wasn't a trial or anything like that. It was a settlement.
Right, but another big piece of this is forced arbitration. Everyone should look at their employment contracts to see if you have forced arbitration that you sign off on. It's very important.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Later, Omarosa hits the Hot Topics table. Still ahead, Omarosa hits the table to talk about going from the Apprentice boardroom to Donald Trump's White House. And Jedediah's gonna lose it when she gets a surprise birthday visit from her biggest celebrity crush.
Welcome back to The View. Now, the Trump team's war on the media continues. They're out to get us. And Jake Tapper from CNN, he took some time out of his show to issue this thoughtful, measured response. Watch.
A reminder that the president's top aide just told the New York Times that the press should keep its mouth shut. No.
I love that.
Short and sweet.
To the point. Apparently, Steve Bannon, who is working with Trump, is his advisor, says that the press should keep its mouth shut. Okay?
And listen.
Now,
keep its mouth shut
let me
and
just
listen.
say this. If our president ever gets around to reading the Constitution, he'll see that freedom of speech is the very First Amendment. It's the first one. It's not number 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. It's not 19. It's numero uno, okay? And there's a reason. There's basically a reason that the Founding Fathers made it number 1, because everything follows from there. If you squelch the media and people's freedom to speak, you have a dictatorship.
Well, it's also a form of checks and balances. The media has always played a role of informing the public, because a democracy is based on the voice of each individual. The way they hear about the topics, what's being legislated, is through the news media. So at the moment you want to squelch that or shut them up, you're talking, you want to tell them what they should hear. That's propaganda. That's not media.
Yeah, I think it's sort of classic because if you think about it, 70% of Trump's statements that PolitiFact checked during the campaign were false. Well, totally false.
Only 70?
70%. And only 4% were completely
Seems
true.
a bit conservative.
Right. And 11% were mostly true. And this is a book out of a lawyer's playbook, right? A play out of a lawyer's playbook, rather. Because when the facts aren't on your side, you attack the fact giver. It's called cross-examination. And so you immediately start testing the person that is speaking. So you start saying, they're dishonest. They were a liar, but didn't you lie about this? Didn't you lie about that? That is what the Trump administration, I think, is doing. They're attacking the credibility.
I think that this is not the first time this has happened. So there was a communications director for President Obama in 2009, Anita Dunn, who also said that the media was going to be the opposition, at least certain parts of it. So we have heard this before, but I really think that this is an introspective
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
There's always opposition to the media from the White House. That I've lived long enough to see that. I've never heard anybody say, shut up. Never.
But he's responding.
And I agree with that.
No.
He's responding to frustration, I think.
He's responding to frustration. There's a whole segment of the country that has been watching 8 years of an Obama presidency where a lot of those things that President Obama and his administration did were not challenged by the media. And the media looked like
examples.
Really, IRS targeting conservative groups, Benghazi, a whole story about blaming a YouTube video, Barack Obama coming out and saying, if you like your doctor or your health care plan, you can keep your doctor and your health care plan. This is the affordable
by the media.
That healthcare law was pushed through by deceit. They lied to people. They said, if you like your plan, your doctor, you can keep it, and your costs are going to go down. And that's how they got public support for that law, and that's why that law passed. They deceived people. Where was the media asking those questions?
They did, I think.
They didn't.
Yes, they
didn't.
I heard it.
It was a very small...
And I heard a lot about Benghazi.
The bottom line is...
Benghazi. I was sick of it after a while.
But I think that this is a time for the media
they dropped the investigation on Benghazi now. What happened to all of the investigations?
They proved that they lied.
They won.
They did. They proved
testified for hours and hours and hours in front of the
saw her
committee.
emails. You proved that
one at a time.
One important thing is I do think that this is a time for the media to be introspective because you cannot make a mistake right now. He's going to tweet it out, right? So I think it's very important for the media to double check. Look, we're talking so much about fake news these days. Let's get back to the way in which we used to do journalism, which was to have two sources for every story.
And they do.
But let's we've moved that far from that. I completely disagree. Journalists are on the front lines just like lawyers are on the front lines, Gretchen, and I think that we are doing our jobs.
Where
and
have
we're doing
they
it
been?
well.
The last time I saw the media, and I'm not talking about everybody. There are good people out there. There are good journalists out there doing their job. I remember in 2008, you had a team of journalists land in Wasilla, Alaska to find, they were digging for stuff on Sarah Palin. You had plenty of stuff that was out in the open on President Obama that demanded questioning. They didn't care about. They didn't care.
Obama for 8 years, and they didn't find anything.
They didn't care about
Jedediah,
Palin was really funny.
Before we go, you have to be careful that Steve Bannon doesn't tell you to shut up, too.
Well, he can tell me to shut up. I'm going to keep talking.
That's fine.
Of course we are. I'm going to keep talking, but that's not the point. The point is that I understand the anger of the people who are saying there has been an injustice here. The media has been a right arm of the Democratic Party, and we don't like it.
He says that the media is the opposition to the White House. I say that the truth is the opposition
if
to the
media
White House.
is allied with one
because of the
party
lying that's been going on. We have to go. We'll be right back. We have to go.
Hey, I'm Omarosa. I'm joining the ladies to talk about 2 men of my life, my lovely fiance and my upcoming wedding and the White House. Coming up next.
The no-gag rule on The View, we don't have one. Our next guest is actually working for the Trump administration. America first met Omarosa as the supervillain of the first season of The Apprentice, and now she's working for him again as assistant to the... No, you never heard that, Omarosa?
Not supervillain.
Oh, just
That's
villain.
Like
okay.
That's big screen stuff.
Now she's working as the director of communications for the Office of Public Liaison. Please welcome Omarosa. So, my dear, you look very good.
Thanks, Joy.
You look very nice. We're in red today. So you're working for the Donald.
This is my first time back in 13 years. Oh, wow. I was here on the first season of The Apprentice.
Welcome.
Good to be back. And my mentor, and who I call the legend of TV, Barbara Walters, was here when I last was here, and it was an honor to be here.
That's right. So you're working in the White House with the president. What exactly are you doing? And do you genuflect in the morning? That's what I want to know.
Say that again.
What are you doing for him?
So I am Director of Communications for the Office of Public Liaison, and really we are the face, the coordination between the different groups that want to have a voice and to inform the policy that's happening with this administration. And so I'm honored to serve all of the different groups who want to engage with this administration. In fact, right now I'm planning our Black History Month program, and it's going to be extravagant.
Wow. Well, let me follow up on that, because you say you're working on Black History Month, and one of your jobs during the campaign was to reach out to the African-American community.
I was the Director of African-American engagement for the Trump-Pence campaign.
Right, but 94% of Black women did not vote for Donald Trump. They voted for Hillary Clinton. And how do you respond to the criticism that Donald Trump doesn't really understand the Black community, doesn't really...
Well, let's put it in context.
Let me finish my question.
Well, how many questions? Because that's about 3 or 4.
The criticism has been that he's just using you for optics and that he doesn't really care about the Black community.
First one, and then we can go through each step. First of all, African Americans traditionally vote Democratic. Let's just establish a historical precedent. They vote for the Democrat. 94, 95%. So that's no different. But Donald Trump got 13% of the African-American vote. He doubled what Romney got. And he is very, very excited about engaging with the African-American community. Now, your second and third question I really didn't hear, so if you want to go through those again.
The criticism has been in the African-American community that Donald Trump doesn't really care about the community, and in fact, he's just using you as optics.
First of all, no one uses me. No one uses me. First and foremost, let me just tell you a little bit about myself, and then you can understand how I got where I am. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, in the Westlake Projects, a housing project. So I am the embodiment of the American dream. I grew up on welfare, on Section 8 housing. My father was killed when I was 7 years old. I went to public schools. I went to Central Ohio, got to Howard University, and started to work in politics. So I earned my way to sit in the White House. No one gave me anything, okay? And I think that when you start talking about the African-American community, you know, the last administration decided not to aggressively do African-American outreach. They felt that if they helped all Americans, then the Black community would be helped. And that, you know, that really isn't the approach that we're taking. We have a very strategic plan of engaging this community. We see what's happening in the inner cities. We see that 56% of African-American men under 30 are either unemployed or not in school. And we want to work to change that. We see the violence that's happening in Chicago. It's unacceptable.
They can't do what you did?
It's unacceptable to see the amount of murders that are happening. 1 second, Joy. Because what's happening in Chicago, and there's not an uproar, that so many people are dying and being shot, is unacceptable.
Okay, well,
and so we are going to address that. And this president already this week tweeted about Chicago.
He talked about wanting to bring
I want him to do anything there is to do to make sure that no family goes through what my family went through. My brother was murdered not even 5 years ago, shot dead in his own home. When I see these families in Chicago, 700 or 800 families had to go through what my family went through. I had to sit in the courtroom with the man that murdered my brother. This is more than just politics. For me, Joy, this is my passion.
I understand what you're saying. I'm questioning, why do you think you were able to make it and all these other people could not?
You know, that's a bigger question than for a 3-minute segment.
Does racism have anything to do with it, for instance?
And there are a lot of historical things that has happened that other people could answer. I'm going to tell you about my life and my experience.
Why do you think President
I was
Trump,
able to make it. One second, Gretchen. I was able to make it because my mother made sure that we were in the church, that Christ was the head of our lives, that education was at the top of every single thing that we did.
I think
and
quite common amongst the Black community.
Trouble and out of the street.
Yes.
And that's why I can't speak because we're not all a monolith. The African-American community is so diverse. But my mother and the sacrifice she made after my father was murdered is the reason that I am successful today.
And I agree with all those things that you say, and hats off for all of your hard work in getting to where you are today. I guess my question is, what is it about Donald Trump, President Trump, that you see that will help change the way in which African Americans are in our communities?
Well, I think that you all have gotten to know him as a business mogul, as an
entertainer, reality star,
as a reality star, now as the president of the United States, Joy.
I can't make it up.
But I know him. I know it's got to burn your blood.
Anybody can be president. He proved it.
It's got to be really. Joy, I know it's got to be really, really hard after, you know, the last year and a half of all the things that you said about Donald to see him sitting in the Oval Office. I know it's got to be hard for you, but I have to tell you that I know him.
It kills me, as a matter of fact.
And I know it does.
I love that.
But here's the great thing. You all know him as the president. I know him as a friend. I know his heart. I know the things that he's seen has never been reported on and probably folks won't ever talk about.
Listen to what he says?
I'm talking about my experience, Joy.
Yeah.
You can listen to what you want. You have decided to continue to hit him and hit him and hit him and not even give him a chance in his first week.
I'm waiting for him to apologize.
I want to ask you, though.
You want who?
I'm waiting for him to apologize for all the things he said about
you.
No, not to me. Not to me. To veterans, to John McCain, to the handicapped, the disabled.
The message that he has about, personally, about school choice, about opportunity, about jobs, I think that message did get to a lot of people, and that's why a lot of African Americans, a lot of people who were in poverty, people of all genders and races came out. My issue is that
African Americans did not come out for Donald
They
Trump.
came out more than they had for Republicans in the past, and that means something.
And you have to give some credit to that, Sonny.
But
you know, we also have to move from campaign now. He's the president. We're no longer campaigning, so those same lines.
How do you bring the people in who are saying, you know what, no matter what, we're doomed, who are refusing to listen to the fact that a lot of these programs, in my opinion, will bring opportunity? How do you make those people who aren't inclined to listen
when we come back?
to listen?
Omarosa, we're going to commercial. When we come back, she can answer your question. Okay, Jed, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that although some of these policies, school choice, whatnot, have a positive outreach, I think there are some who feel that because of the statements he's made that are divisive and whatnot, that we're doomed. And they have this philosophy of we're doomed. How do you reach those people to say, hold on a second, listen to what we're actually trying to do and give us a chance?
Well, I think that once people see the results, I mean, he's about delivering and being productive. And we've already seen from this first week that he is going to do exactly what he said he's going to do. And we can trust that if Donald Trump says he's going to give jobs, he's going to bring back manufacturing, that he's about America first, then that's what he means. And we've seen that in 5 days. And people who even disagree with him have to agree that this first week has been probably one of the most productive weeks of any administration.
It has, but it seems that sometimes he gets a little off track as well, and he goes back to the crowd size at the inauguration and now the voter fraud investigation with 3 to 5 million people voting, you know, illegally. And now you have Jason Chaffetz, you know, from Utah, member of Congress, who says, I'm not going to start an investigation into this because I don't see any evidence of it. Is this a distraction for President Trump?
Well, I think that there's a time of adjustment. You know, he's not a politician. He's never held office, and he's moving from private sector to governing, and it takes an adjustment time. I think in the first 5 days, he's done a spectacular job of dealing with the most important high-pressure job in the world. And so we have to give him time to make that shift. And I believe that you will see that this president is going to be incredible for this country. And I am excited about what's happening with this administration. I'm very honored to be a part of it.
What if they find out in the voter fraud investigation that Hillary won the election? Will we do it over again?
They won't find out that because she didn't win.
There's a possibility she won by 3 million more votes. Isn't it possible?
I think that anything is possible, but I think what's more important right now, I think about the families who lost loved ones in the tornadoes. I think about the families that the president talked about this week who became victims of violence because of illegal immigrants. I'd like to continue to talk about the election. It amuses me, but the truth is we have real issues. We have real issues and there are real Americans who have problems that we have to address. So you all can sit at the table and continue to talk about those things in the media, but we have a job to address. We have a job to make sure that the American people have exactly what they need.
Let me just jump in here real quickly. The day after the inauguration, millions of women marched around the world to protest President Trump. many were offended by some of the things he said along the way, but how did you remedy this as a woman? Did any of this resonate with you?
Well, first, I'm an American. I'm a very proud American. So let's start with that. And I know people like to put labels. Omarosa's black, she's a woman, she's this. I'm an American first. And seeing those women march last week, it made me very proud. It's one of the most important fundamental rights that we have in this country. Right. The right to assemble, the freedom of speech, and the right to protest. I love seeing that. And there is a march going on. There's a march going on right now, the March for Life, that I hope that you all will give the same type of coverage that you are.
We did yesterday, actually. We covered it yesterday.
But today, it's going on right now. And so that same freedom should be afforded to all Americans. And I'm so glad that the Vice President is probably preparing to speak at the March for Life right now.
But why do you think it's so divisive? It's so divisive in our society right now.
It's politics. You know, politics is a tough game. This is my second time in the White House, so I'm not really new to the tension that comes with it. What's new to me is just this desire to paint Donald Trump with this negative brush without giving him a chance to do what he said he was going to do.
Can I just ask you this? We've been talking about how divisive this election is, and Gretchen's been talking about how divisive this election is. We often say that it comes from the top. He did lead this very divisive campaign. Will we hear him apologize?
But don't you think the media contributed to that?
Will we hear him apologize?
No. For
of course not.
The things that he stood by everything that he said. And now let me just say,
reporter?
He didn't make fun of a disabled reporter, but you can continue to say that. If you say it enough, people may start to believe it. Let me just say this as I close this. Y'all can keep throwing things at me. I'm not going to really fall for that. What I will say is the American people can listen to me right now and right here. We are committed to making this country the best it's going to be. We're not going to look in the past. We're going to look forward and put this country first. And that's what's not been happening in the last 8 years. We're going to put America first. We're going to put people back to work. We're going to make sure people are safe. And that's what this president is about.
Same as you,
This is a table for you all to negotiate things that you want to talk about from the past. But I now work for this country. Yes. And I take my job very seriously.
Can we see his tax returns, do you think?
See, Joy, do you? As I see we only have 1 minute left, my handsome fiance traveled all the way here from Jacksonville, Florida, and he is in the audience. Girl, I'm talking about my man. He is in the audience. No, boo. I'm talking about my man. We're getting married. I'm so glad that he's here. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. We get along just fine.
He may want to see his tax returns.
You want to see his tax returns? Raise your hand if yes. The answer is yes.
I just want to know if you're going to take his last name.
Oh, of course, he's my husband. He's going to be my husband in April. Right. And I'm so happy that he's here with me, and he brings me such joy. And I hope that you one day can find that kind of joy in your life.
Oh, please.
When they go low, we go high.
That's right. And I feel like I could get high right now. Thanks to Omarosa, and we'll be right back.
Shh. Jedediah has no idea that her favorite celebrity crush is here to surprise her for her birthday. You don't want to miss this moment. Stay tuned.
Can make you happy, make you cry, and it can stay in your memory forever, like this one.
You know, Luke, her boyfriend's in the audience. I'm just saying.
It's all good. We're just right here.
I heard it, and I'm like, because, you know, we've been talking about this. I've been telling my producer, I'm like 90210 obsessed. I mean, I'm still watching. Like Dylan McKay, I'm ready to go to the Peach Pit after this. I am set. And I was, something with this segment was weird, and I was asking a lot of questions, and I was like, something's up. Look at that. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, like it was yesterday.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. Does that feel like... So I have to ask you, though, when this happens, when you have, like, a fan that, like, knows your stuff from... Does it drive you crazy that I'm, like, Dylan McKay's at the table right now? It has to a little bit, right?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's not like you're going to turn Luke Perry away.
Yeah. I think as long as I get to come out to the table, you
Thank
can
you
call
so
me
much
whatever
for
you want.
being here.
My pleasure. I'm glad to get to meet you.
I'd love to know how you feel about his new role, because his new show premiered last night, Riverdale.
Yeah.
Yep.
To great reviews. And when you were growing up and idolizing him sort of squeaky clean, this role for him is a little bit dark.
Everyone loves a bad boy.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Yeah, what's that like?
It's a little dark. It's a little dark. It is the Archie comic, and we've updated it a lot and made it sophisticated and new. We're on Thursdays at 9. CW, check it out. And thank you. We have all the characters from the original Archie. We have Betty, Veronica, Jughead, of course, Archie.
I always like Veronica best.
Yeah, we got a lot. Well, yeah, it used to be Brenda or Kelly. Now it's Veronica or Betty.
It's always Brenda and Kelly.
But you
It's always something like that.
Do you like playing dark? Because Dylan was dark. You know, do you like? Are you dark? What do you like in real life?
Oh my gosh, Jen!
Down, girl.
No, I like to laugh. I like everything to be funny and have a good time. I sometimes play these dark characters because, I don't know. I just, but this one, the world is dark. Like, my character isn't so dark. I think my guy is actually probably the nicest guy in the show.
Yeah. You're the dad.
He's a single dad trying to raise his son, trying to do a good job with it. But all kinds of crazy stuff does happen in this incarnation of Riverdale.
Wow.
Hey, now, and we have a clip. We have a clip.
You do?
Yes, let's watch
Run
it.
that clip.
Where'd you sneak off to last night?
You heard that?
Son, I've been hearing you sneak out since you were 8 years old, going to Jughead's treehouse.
I couldn't sleep. I went for a jog to tire myself out.
Yeah. Got something on your mind?
So you're actually playing Archie's dad, right? You're playing Archie's dad.
That's true. I play
Fred
Archie's
Andrews,
dad.
his name is.
That's me.
But this is what how we know him from the comic books. This is what he looks like. Yeah.
You don't look like that.
You don't look like that.
No, but well, sometimes.
You're like hot Archie.
I have my
So
moments.
they pad you?
But I had wanted to, you know, shave the head down and go with the pad, but they weren't down for that. They wanted them to look like that other.
If you had to answer final for the fans like Jed and I that have watched forever, you get one thing, okay?
Okay. Oh, man, you're both doing that. All right.
Brenda or Kelly. Brenda or Kelly.
Why
Brenda or Kelly.
What I've always said is, why does it have to be Brenda or Kelly?
has
Why
to
can't it be Brenda and
Because that's the bad
That's how it works out the best.
That
doesn't
works
it?
lovely for the men and not so great for the woman. You get one choice, Brenda or Kelly. Say it here. It's an exclusive right here on The View. Go.
It would. We'd have to flip a coin. I would literally have to flip a coin. I do. That's an alternate fact. I don't actually. The truth of it is.
Completely surprised.
Really? Okay, because these are hard to pull
off.
off.
I feel like a fangirl, though. When you walked in, I'm like, oh, I can't even speak right.
I've never
this is what
seen
happens.
you like this,
right?
I've never seen you speechless.
Never.
You're very articulate,
No.
beautiful young woman.
When you grow, and I'm sure you have shows when you grow up with a show and you get to know the characters. It feels like I still watch the reruns.
She has a shirt with your picture on the
I
back.
have a shirt with your photo on the back of it, which I wore
Good.
here, by the way, for everyone to see. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks
I'm so
for coming
excited about your new
on.
show.
Yeah.
Our thanks to Luke Perry. See him every night in Jed's Dreams or in Riverdale Thursday nights on the CW. We'll be right back.
We will.
I totally dropped the ball. I'm like, oh, I had to... Monday, View Your Deals giving you the Big O. We partnered with vendors for half off Oprah's latest batch of favorite things. And it was the racially charged murder that had America taking sides. The parents of Trayvon Martin share the story you haven't heard about the tragic death of their son.
Welcome back to the show. Gretchen, after you left Fox News, you really cleaned out your closet, I understand.
I did.
In more ways than one, baby.
I have so many dresses.
And you're trying to help other women with some of your stuff, get a fresh start. Tell us.
I am. So I am donating 84 outfits today to Dress for Success. Let's look at them. to try some of these on.
No, she's got her
all
own
of these are
clothes.
going to Dress for Success
Yeah,
in its
great.
20th year. They've helped 1 million women empower themselves. And I've started a fund, Gift of Courage, where I want to also empower young women and girls to be anything that they can be in life. And if I can help any woman get a job by wearing one of these dresses, then I've accomplished something great
That's
today.
great. I think that's a wonderful thing. You had to buy your own clothes over there, huh? They don't buy the clothes
Some of them
for
you haven't even worn, you said.
Some of them are brand new, and they're all very, they're in great shape. So you can't have any, Sunny, unfortunately.
I can't have any.
When people need this, it's the first impression they make at a job.
They totally need to feel secure about themselves and feel empowered. And if there's anything that I can do to make that happen, then I hope that I will help somebody get a job that they need.
How can other people do that?
Well, they can go to dressforsuccess.com
and find out how to
it's
donate?
in cities all over the world. It actually started in a basement in a small little community 20 years ago, and look where we are today.
Thanks for doing this today.
Yeah.
We really
Thank you so
enjoyed
much.
seeing you. Our thanks to Gretchen Carlson. And thank you all. And have a great weekend, everybody. And you know what to do. You have to take a little time to enjoy the view. It's a given.